Your destiny is determined by who you allow into your social circle. The ancient Stoics knew the power of friendship and warned against those who might pull us down. Our environment is our extended self and affects us far more than it appears. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Socialize with those who elevate you to the next level, those whose presence inspires your best qualities." You may have heard the phrase that we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. Today we're going to look at this thought through the lens of Stoicism. We'll discuss 7 types of people who can hinder your personal growth from the perspective of Stoic philosophy, and why it is important to reconsider your environment if you have such people around you. Before we begin, I'd love it if you would subscribe to the channel to support its development and turn on notifications so you don't miss new episodes. The first type of people to avoid are complainers. We all have that friend, relative, or co-worker who seems to always find faults. Whether it is the weather, work, or even a meal at a popular restaurant, they never miss a chance to express their dissatisfaction by drawing attention to themselves. Easier said than done, but constant exposure to such negativity is bad for your mental state, like a leaky faucet that slowly drains our energy. Instead of focusing on problems, it is more important to look for practical solutions. Imagine working on a project with someone who does nothing but complain. Every meeting turns into a tedious session, reducing team spirit and distracting you from finding solutions. Eventually, the project becomes frustrating, and perhaps life in general. How does Stoicism help you deal with complainers? There are several strategies. First, minimize interaction with such a person. If this is not possible, for example, if it is a family member or co-worker, try to mentally distance yourself from him or her while he or she is complaining. Think of his words as a passing storm, loud and disturbing, but temporary and powerless against the unmoving mountain of your inner peace. Try to redirect the conversation in a more constructive direction by asking questions about solutions rather than problems. We can always control our perceptions, not external events. This timeless wisdom of the Stoics teaches us to protect our inner peace by not allowing chronic complainers to lead us astray. The next type of person is the drama magnet. These people seem absorbed in an endless stream of crises, conflicts, and contradictions, drawing attention to themselves like a whirlwind. Their energy can be exciting, but it is exhausting, and they seem to be in a constant state of chaos. However, you will soon realize that being around them is akin to steering a ship in a storm. It is exhausting and unsafe. The peculiarity of communication with the magnet of trouble is that his problems are often perceived as your own. Their chaos is contagious, and you may find yourself drawn into a conflict to which initially had nothing to do. Consider an example. You have a friend who today quarreled with one person, tomorrow with another. She turns to you for advice, but you notice that this cycle does not stop, and soon you discover that you too have been drawn into her feud. One effective technique is the technique of reflective listening. Instead of giving advice or taking sides, try simply paraphrasing her words. For example, if she says, "I can't believe she said that about me," you might respond, "It sounds like you feel betrayed by what she said." This allows you to show support without getting involved in the drama. Another approach is to intentionally keep your distance from other people as crises, especially those that are repeated without permission. Turn off the phone at certain hours and arrange periods for personal focus and development, making it clear that you are not to be disturbed during those times. Stoics say that true happiness lies in appreciating the present moment without worrying about the future. This is especially helpful when interacting with dramatic personalities. Instead of worrying about what crisis will happen next, focus on the present moment that you are in control of. Remain the master of your life and don't let other people as difficulties distract you from your own peace of mind and growth. The third type of person is the skeptic. Imagine you are an artist working on a canvas. Each brush stroke adds color, depth, and life to your design. But suddenly a skeptic walks in. He casts a critical eye on your work and begins to question. Are you sure about that color? It doesn't look realistic. Did you know that most artists don't succeed? Their words are like smears of gray paint, blurring your bright canvas. This isn't constructive criticism. It has a constant aura of doubt and negativity. Let us say you want to start a new career. You've already done your research, talked to professionals in the field, and maybe even taken a few courses. But it is worth sharing this with a detractor as you hear, "You don't have the right skills. What if it doesn't work out?" Over time, their doubts begin to erode your confidence, and even the determination that was there begins to waver. How do you deal with such negativity? It is especially difficult if it is someone close to you. One unusual but effective method of interacting with skeptics is to ask for their advice instead of just telling them about your plans and aspirations. That way they are less likely to criticize your ideas directly and perhaps offer more constructive feedback. Another way is to change the script with a positive confrontation technique. Instead of absorbing their negativity, invite them to think about possible solutions. If they say, "Now you'll never be able to change careers," respond with, Who do you think could do it successfully? This approach will not only mitigate the negativity, but also shift the conversation in a more constructive direction. Remember the words of the Stoics. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth to listen twice as much as to speak. Listening is not about absorbing other people's negativity. It is about being able to distinguish valuable thoughts from empty noise. When naysayers begin to dilute your canvas with their bleak colors, take a step back. The 4th type of person to avoid is the eternal victim. Imagine life as a game of chess, where each player has the same pieces and the goal is to checkmate your opponent as king. You think strategically, make sacrifices and take risks, while the victim blames the board, the pieces, or the opponent for every bad move they make. In their eyes, they are always on the losing end through no fault of their own, but because of external circumstances supposedly working against them. Their narrative is a never-ending story of suffering in which they play the role of the helpless hero. Of course, it is important to realize that many people face difficulties and systemic problems, but the victims we are talking about use their difficulties as a constant excuse, avoiding responsibility for their actions and inactions. Listen to them, but don't become the eternal solver of their problems. Don't give in to the urge to try on the role of the victim. Take control of your chessboard. Make your moves. And remember, in the game of life, perpetual loss is a choice rather than a predetermination. Lead your pieces forward when necessary. Make strategic sacrifices. Play for personal growth and wisdom, not pity or revenge. The 5th type of person to avoid is the toxic positivist. You know the kind of person who literally radiates sunshine, rainbows, and endless streams of emoji. They are the ones who tell you to just be happy during difficult periods, backing up their words with a light-hearted wave of gleeful optimism. Imagine your life is a garden where there are flowers, but there are also weeds and pests. Toxic positivist. Yet such people insist that you ignore everything that is not a blooming rose. Have you got aphids in your garden? They say, focus on the colors. Keep the negativity out. Think, for example, of a difficult situation like a difficult breakup. You are worried, feeling confused, looking for balance. Seneca spoke of balance in relationship to the world and life, suggesting that we should appreciate the present moment but not feel anxiously attached to it. It is a balance, being aware of obligations and being able to savor the moment. Stoicism is not about focusing only on the positive or only on the negative, but about accepting life with all its difficulties and peace of mind. So when the toxic positivist reappears in your garden, take a step back, Remember, a garden needs both sun and rain to thrive. Care for it with an understanding of all its riches and challenges. Imagine your life as a movie script where you are the main character and you have a clear idea of how the story should unfold, where the twists and turns will occur, who will become allies and who will become mentors, and what the ending will be. And then comes the manipulator, a person who discreetly interferes in your script and rewrites it so that one day you find that the plot has deviated from the course. Manipulators are masters of emotional and psychological maneuvers, and they can use flattery, guilt, or even lies to steer you where it benefits them. Let us say you have a friend who always manages to talk you into paying for dinner by saying something like, "You know, Ivy had a rough month, and you rate so successful. It doesn't cost you anything and it'll make me feel better." At first it seems like a small thing, but over time you notice that your generosity is being abused. However, it is uncomfortable to say something about it, because the manipulator presents it as helping a friend in need. It can be difficult to deal with a manipulator. One of the methods of countering the tactics of manipulators is a technique that some experts call framing. It implies that you accept whatever truth is in the manipulator as words, but do not give in to emotional pressure. For example, if you are told that you are so successful that you should pay for dinner, you might respond, "You right, I am doing really well, but let us split the bill as usual." Another approach is to set clear boundaries. If the manipulator wants you to lend him money or take on responsibilities that you are uncomfortable with, learn to say no with confidence. Say calmly and clearly, "I can't lend money, but I am here to offer emotional support." This sets boundaries while maintaining a friendly relationship. Remember that we can always choose how we react to the behavior of others. Manipulators benefit from your predictable reactions because they manipulate your kindness, guilt, or desire for approval. By deciding to react differently, you take the script back into your own hands. If you discover a manipulator in your life, remember, the pen is in your hands. Your story may include a variety of characters, but your journey should always be defined by your values and decisions. Take the script of your life into your own hands and don't let anyone manipulate your plot. The seventh type of person to avoid are time vampires. Imagine your day is an elaborate symphony where each task is a separate instrument, together creating a harmonious balance. But suddenly a time vampire appears and disrupts the rhythm and drowns out the melody of your life. Time vampires are people who constantly demand your time and attention, often without offering anything of value in return. Perhaps you have an acquaintance who calls for long conversations, distracting you from important tasks, or a colleague who constantly interrupts your work with irrelevant questions. They not only take up your time, but also disrupt your concentration, productivity, and peace of mind. To deal with such people, you need to set clear boundaries. Tactfully but firmly inform them of your capabilities and limitations. Tell them when you can call or meet and when you need to focus on your work without interruption. Encourage them to respect your schedule just as you respect theirs. Another strategy is to channel their requests in a more productive direction. For example, if a friend is prone to long phone conversations, suggest that they exchange short and specific text messages or use email to quickly share information. This will help you maintain control of your time and prevent it from being wasted. Stoic philosophy emphasizes understanding what is under our control and what is not. Time vampires often try to take control of your schedule and attention, but you can maintain control by setting boundaries. Remember the words of the Stoics. It is not that we don't have enough time. It is that we waste it. Socializing with people who uplift you and align with Stoic principles is critical to your progress and personal growth. By recognizing and avoiding the complainer, the trouble magnet, the skeptic, the victim, the toxic positivist, the manipulator, and the time vampire, you can protect your peace of mind, focus on what is really important, and walk your Stoic path with fortitude and virtue. Write in the comments which of these 7 types of people you've encountered in your life and how much effort it cost you to interact with them. Your stories will be a valuable experience for our community. Thank you for watching. If this video was helpful, please put a like and subscribe to support our exploration of Stoic philosophy. Your participation and commitment to Stoic principles contributes to a community of people striving for wisdom, courage, and a life worth living.